Morning. It's Monday, April 11th, and today I'm going to talk about another thing that is happening in this country that is indicating the decay of our great democracy. And because of things like this, I don't think that we can use the defining word great anymore. Every time I have to talk about topics like this, I'm always surprised at some point at the lengths that people go to ruin our country. So what am I so upset about today? I know that must be running through your minds. What is this man, this ranter talking about today? Today's topic is banning books. Over 1,000 book titles have been banned in schools. This is an effort to censor books addressing such topics as racism and LGBTQ issues. More than 1,000 titles were pulled from school libraries. And I don't have to tell you which states this is going on in. It's certainly not going on in any blue states that I know of. These actions have taken place over the last 9 months in U.S. classrooms and school libraries. And from the information I have received, many of the authors of these books are not white males. So I ask you, is that the reason to ban a book? Are the topics that are expressed by people of color not to be read by others? Is it going to taint the minds of these young children? Or is it going to expose to them the issues that are running rampant in this country? What are people afraid of? Books are the most important form of communication to the young. If we could get more people reading books and off their cell phones, maybe we would have a chance for a great future in this country. But banning books, it leads me back to the 1930s in Germany, where they started burning books, piles of books. Is that going to be the next step in this country, where we are going to see bonfires of books out in the streets of certain places? Is that what we're looking at in this country? Banning books? Books contain the great ideas of people. And yes, you may not like the author, and you may not like their color, or they're green or blue or purple, and you might not like their sexual persuasion. But if you don't expose the young to those ideas, you are doing them a great disservice. We, the parents of this country, are responsible for the education of our children. We can't leave it all in the hands of the educators. Obviously, we certainly can't leave it in the hands of the educators in these states that are rifling through the shelves of their libraries to take books out. Banning books. Any book should be readable. The books that they have taken off the shelves is Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. Now that struck a chord with me because in my senior year of college I wrote a thesis about Huckleberry Finn by Twain. And you know why they took this book off the shelf, supposedly? Because somewhere in the book, in one paragraph or something, Mark Twain wrote a derogatory word associated with black, when the entire book is anti-racism and indicates that black and whites can work together. And that offends these people. So they've taken Mark Twain, Huckleberry Finn off their shelves. When I was writing my thesis, I tried to get into the New York City Public Library reference room to do research about the way this book was written. And I wasn't allowed to use the reference room because I wasn't a graduate student. And Mark Twain's book was only reviewed by 2 newspapers in Boston at that time. So it was a controversial book at that. It survived. And it's a great book. And they're taking that off the shelves because it might warp the mind of the children. And it won't. It will expose them to things that they need to know. And why are the parents in these states allowing this? Why are they going along with this idiotic action? In fact, in the state of Texas, in the town of Katy, Texas, the leader of the book banning search is not even an educational professional. It's one of the students' mothers who is leading the charge. Why? Why do we allow a civilian to get into the realm of education in such a screwed up manner? So I could tell this parent's expertise in order to ban books is just the mere fact that she's capable of reading. That's a hell of a way to put somebody or allow somebody to be in charge of removing books from the library when your child's education is at stake. Anyhow, this is a serious problem because the frequency and the intensity and the volume of books that have been removed from the shelves is unparalleled in the history of this country. So are we going to let it continue? Are we going to allow censorship in the libraries around the country? What do we have here? It's a time of madness, a time of bad things. Now, the House of Representatives Oversight Committee discovered these goings on, but they really haven't done anything. They just pass it down the road to somebody. Meanwhile, 86 school districts have removed over 1,100 titles from their shelves. Most of them permanently, but some are still under investigation. And as we know in this country, as we know about the January 6th and other things that have happened in this country, how long is it going to take before these books get back on the shelves, if they ever get back on the shelves? Or are we going to continue to take things off the shelves because we do not agree with the author? That's a terrible situation. It's another form of killing off our democracy. Imagine that your child can't read a certain book. It's a terrible situation, and we're living through terrible time. So it's just another example of what's really going on in this country. Another example of how little we know about what's happening all around us. So I leave you with that. It's another happy day. Bye.